All right, ladies and gentlemen, now that we have our symbols, now one of the things that's going to be required in your final tree is to include your family name. So in order to do that, we need to have some fonts to work with. So we are going to be working with fonts, which is the style of lettering, or the way letters are written. So first off, you're going to try out 6 different fonts with the first few letters of your last name. Since this is your family tree, it's going to be based on your last name. If you want to do kind of a combined one, like for example, I could do my maiden name with my married name, or I could do my mom's last name and my dad's last name, like my mom's married name, because that's more my history. You could do that as well, but you want to be thinking about using last names only. So you're going to try 6 different fonts. Now you can just make up some fonts, like you could do block, you could do bubble. So what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing. I want C, so because both my last names begin with C. So I can make up a font of my own, or if I'm having trouble coming up with a font of my own, there are these font packets that are on the side of the room above the heater that I can look through and kind of pick if I want one. Let's see, where's one that's interesting? And then I can look at and copy. Do not trace them, because eventually you're going to have to draw them by yourself. So you're going to have to start figuring out how it works anyways. You could also change it. So like this one's only got a curly Q at the top, but I decided I wanted to curly Q on both letters. And if I look at the H, I don't like the way that is, so I'm going to curly Q the top, I think. So then I do that. And then this. So then you're going to come up with block, bubble. Let's see, I could do something more kind of round and bubbly. I could come up with something that's made up of other things. So I could do like a dotted letter. All right, so then I'm not going to make you watch me do all of these. So as soon as you've got your 6 fonts, you've filled all those boxes, you're going to choose your 2 favorite fonts from above, and you're going to write out your whole last name. So I think I'm going to do 2 different last names on mine. So I'm going to do like a hyphenated name. So I'm going to do one in one box and one in the other. So I'm going to do, let's do this curly Q1. And you want to make it a little bit bigger. You're going to figure out how each of the letters looks, especially if you're someone who made up the font yourself. And if you don't want the 2 letters to look the same, that's fine. If I decide that this E is going to look different than the other E, then that's fine. There are no requirements. All I got to do is use not my regular handwriting to write my name. Now the other one I think I'm going to do is my maiden name, because I still feel connected to that. So then I'll do that one here. Now in my final, if I decide that if I want to do this font for both letters, I could do that. This is just testing it out, seeing if I like it. If I really don't like this font, I might want to like stop and try again. Try to do a different font in this box instead. I kind of like that. So now I've got those 2. Now this third part is the trickier part, and that's kind of weird and makes you think a little bit more. Now you're going to fill your name into these shaped boxes. That means I'm going to make the name go from here to here, following the shape of the box. So, for example, if I start with Chesser, that would mean that maybe this C is really tiny, and this H gets bigger, and this E is really big, and maybe since it's so big, I'm going to put a little curly Q. I don't like that. Just connect it. S. Alright, so that one didn't quite work because I should have had enough letters, so I made these two letters a little too small. So if I want to go back and change it, I could, but it's filling. I would say fill up at least 75%. If you're filling it and you're only ending up here, you need to try again, especially if your name is short. Your last name is short. So I've got that one. Maybe for this one, the other thing that you don't have to do is you don't necessarily have to keep them in order. I could do something like I could do the C here, and then I could do the H going this way, and I could do the E so it fits in here, and then I make the S really big. So don't feel like you have to that you have to keep everything facing the same direction, or that you have to make all the letters the same size. You can kind of vary it to fill up those boxes. So what you want to think about is how can you change that text to make it fill these shapes? Because you're going to be using your name inside your tree. So I kind of tried to pick some kind of tree-like shapes to be thinking about. But that's really what this part's making you think about. How are you going to put your tree, your name maybe in a branch, your name maybe in the trunk, your name maybe in the roots, or in a different kind of shaped branch. So you need to finish this whole worksheet before you can move on to the next step.